I went to the Toronto Regional Championships for the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Video Game Championships. It's the last event for Regulation H, very low-powered format, and I went with one goal in mind. Well, really, it was 3. I'm no Wolfie VGC. I'm not the kind of person who can go and just win the regional championships or anything like that. I'm not even a guy who made it to day 2. So what could my goals have possibly been, and did I actually get them? Let's get into that. My first goal: don't go 0-X. I need to win at least one game. Ideally, I win the first game that I play. Start my day off on a positive win record and just get that stress out of the way, because then I can, bomb out the next few games and still know that, okay, I at least started on the right foot. I want to have play that also makes me feel good about my ability to compete in this game. I'm using this event as a test to see, can I actually hold my own against good players? Maybe I'll get the chance to play against a really well-known player, someone, maybe even like a former champion or something. And, maybe I'll do well against them, right? Like, I want to have that litmus test. I want to go to prove to myself that I can enjoy myself, even if I'm not the master. It might be the master's division, but there's no guarantee that I'm actually going to, do well, make it to day 2. I've already spoiled that I didn't, right? So, did I achieve these goals? Well, let's go over it. I also want to showcase what it's like going to one of these events when you are not the favorite to win. If you're new to competing, you're not confident about it, you don't know anyone, this was me. I didn't know anyone explicitly going, at least not in person. Talked to a few people on like Discord and such, but no established connections. I've been to one event before this, and I dropped midway through because I was really tired and wanted to spend time with my friends that I hadn't seen in a long time. So I have no competitive basis for this game. Ultimately, I also want people who are new to see someone go through the process and be like, you know what, that seems fun. Or to look at the process and say, you know what, I could do that even better than he can. Or just to hear me talk about things and be like, yeah, that sounds like fun. Let me go and do that. So if you happen to fall into any of these camps, or you're just enjoying yourself, I would appreciate it if you left a like, comment, and a subscribe, because that's what these hands motions do. Yeah, I'm trying to post this before 2024 ends, and before posting this, I have 47 subs, and if I can hit 50 by the end of the year, I would be a very happy boy. Before getting into the event, you need to prepare. So how did I prepare? Ultimately, I looked at the game through the lens of, what am I bad at? Because looking at what I'm good at, okay, well, I know the game. I know the mechanics. I've followed the scene for a long time. That stuff, I got that on lock. I've been able to hit Master Ball tier many different seasons, both in Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet, using rental teams. I can take a team that someone else has made and be like, yep, this is good for the meta, and take it and be like, okay, cool, and start piloting it, and boom, into Masters. But making the teams, I don't really know what I'm doing. That's where I'm having trouble. So for me, the thing I looked at first was coaching. I was able to book some coaching with Paul Ruiz, 2017, God, I hope I got that right, world champion. Highly recommend. If you got the funds for it and you need some professional help in Pokemon, then I recommend that you go with Paul. He's very easy to talk to, very knowledgeable, and I learned a lot. We mainly focused on team building, talking about concepts and how to go about it, things like, the basis they can go off is like, do you want to plan off of a single mon, a strategy, going against the meta, build multiple meta relevant teams. It's like, build the balance team, build the sun team, etc., right? Because that'll give you a good understanding of what's going on. And you can learn the game by not team building yourself. It's possible, but at the same time, team building will mean that you know your team much better than something that you borrowed from someone else. Maybe it's not as optimal as what someone else has done, but because you put it together, you know exactly what's going on. So in early November, I had a day off of work, had this coaching session. It was great. The next day I come down with nasty laryngitis, and my voice is shot for 2 weeks, and for a week and a half, my energy levels are just gone. I can't think straight. I cannot do anything. I cannot practice. So I lose out on time. The lesson there is, for me, was shit happens, man. I would love to indulge in the perfectionist mentality that I have and have practiced that extra week and a half, and maybe I would have arrived at different answers. Maybe I would have gotten a better team. Maybe I'd end up making day 2. Maybe I would have ended up going 0-X, right? Who knows? But ultimately, that happened, and yet I still had a good time in the end. So, lesson learned, I guess. I get better, no longer sick. What do I then do? I go into Showdown. I have a VGC draft league that you can go and watch on my channel right now. Haha, plug. And from that, I know kind of how to like look at like niche things that teams can do, right? So like the idea of like trying to find little tricks that they can do. So initially I start looking at Indeedee female, and I'm like, skill swap Indeedee female, that thing is cool. And I get like nowhere with it. I'm not able to find anything that quite works. So I'm like, you know what I need to do? I kind of need to go with my strengths in this moment. I need to borrow a team. Borrow a team for what? You just said you're gonna build one for Toronto. You're just gonna borrow a team, or are you a hypocrite? No, I'm building a team for a grassroots tournament. There are lots of them that you can find around. So I found one ran by Talon Master J that try and do weekly events at this point, where it's best of 1 Swiss and then a best of 3 top cut. So I joined using the Elizabeth team. Got second place at LAIC, as well as other high placings. It became popular because it did really well on the ranked ladder in game. And so I like the look of it. It has Sinistra. I like Sinistra. Watch my other draft league that I have up there right now. Shameless plug. So I joined, and I'm doing well. Winning game after game after game. I have good reads. I'm feeling good with the team. I go to the finals, and I get rolled. I get rolled by Choice Specs Golden Go with Fast Electabuzz beside it for speed control and redirection. And I'm like, oh my god, that's good. Oh my god, that's good. And so next team I build, I started looking at Golden Go. Because I think I had a Scarf Golden Go. That thing was cool. But a Specs Golden Go, I want to do this damage. Right? So I started kind of building with that. And eventually that's what I use in the Grand Challenge 3, which I did okay in. I think I went like 18-12 or like 16-14, something like that. Like, just average-ish results in that. It was like cool to try out. Wasn't fully driving with the team, but I liked the damage output of the Golden Go. Did another one of these grassroots tournaments next week, and it's kind of cool because like now there are content creators going to the event, like Seabad, that are playing in these. So I'm like, oh shit, this is kind of cool. You get to, so like I'm in between matches, I like hopped into his Twitch chat, and we had a problem because I like misreported a match, and they didn't I don't know why they took so long to correct it, but they didn't correct it until the next round started. So people started playing matches when the bracket had been created incorrectly, and I'm just like, oh my god, I'm sorry, because I instinctively after losing hit I won, and then the site auto accepted that I won. I felt bad. And in that one I was using a rental code of a Sunroom team, so it was Isui and Lilligant and then Trick Room stuff. And it felt comfortable because I liked using Indeedee and I like Trick Room stuff, but the Lilligant sucked. I didn't like the inaccuracy that it was popping out. I do some Showdown practice with a friend. I just give him a bunch of rental codes and be like, hey, here are good teams. And I just started running sets against him. He would pick different teams, and I would just run, and I would build the team. And so eventually I started building a Rain team. So I'm like, no, I know how to use Rain. I'm comfortable with it. I've used it in at least one of the GCs. Felt very good using this. So let's run it. So this is all to say that I took these practice avenues, and I had 2 teams. And I had another coaching session with Paul Ruiz about a week before the event. And initially I wanted to have my team solidified so I could just run best of 3 sets and like kind of optimize the team. But I was like, man, I really am not decided on a team yet. I don't know what I'm going to do. And so we spent most of the session building a team. This was a big lesson I learned in terms of the game, which was I felt very uncomfortable if I didn't have at least a terrain control or a weather control, ideally both. But I didn't like it when my opponent could set up something that I could not counter, and they could just run with it. So he asked me, he's like, why do you think they need that? And it was like, okay, well, like part of it's the disruption, but also being able to, go faster, hit harder, all these things. That's why I need weather or terrain. And basically what he told me was like, you can do that in other ways. And the switch that flipped in my brain was, hey, you don't need weather in order to do these things. You want these things, you're just hyper-focusing on weather as the avenue for it. You can go other ways. So we ended up building the team that I brought. This is where I pause a little bit in the video editing so I can pull up a Showdown thing. The team. that core thing that I needed, the speed control, the damage control, something like this, right? Ultimately, we decided on was a mon that I had started looking at first, but I found just didn't really do a whole lot. And that was Whimsicott. Whimsicott provides a tremendous support. It gets a lot of success in Regulation G, as we saw. Being able to Tailwind, being able to Encore things, and Moonblast for some chip. And then you have a last move that sometimes can be different depending on what you want. For a little bit, we were considering Sunny Day, along with our next mon, but ultimately we decided to go with Fake Tears, because kind of like getting your sun up for your fire attackers, or Rain Dance up for your water damage, Fake Tears is just special damage. You get to increase how much the opponent takes. It's very, very good. And so this is what we had. And in terms of the EVs, we decided outspeeding like Electabuzz for like Moonblast and stuff like that was very important, especially because we're running Covert Cloak, so we're always going to be able to outspeed it. Electro Web's not going to be able to drop us. Also lets us outspeed Adamant Sneasler if they're jolly. Okay, you got me, buddy. But that was important. And then the special defense was because there were a lot of our Chaladon running around that were not very specially offensive. Some were even, trending towards bold, for the stamina sets. And you're going to get your +1 from Electro Shot anyway, right? So you don't really need that. So a raw Flash Cannon from these does not knock me out. So I can stick around longer. And then Water Terra just as another defensive option. Didn't feel the need to go Ghost because I have Covert Cloak, so I don't need Block Fake Out. The next mon that we had, though, was Hydreigon. I was really, really enjoying the Safety Goggles support Hydreigon, but man, we just kind of needed some firepower. So Dracometer, Snarl, Heat Wave, and Dark Pulse is the way to go with choice specs. Max Speed Timid. This thing hits so hard. It really does. It served me pretty well. I think the only things it missed in the event for me ultimately just meant I lost faster than I was going to anyway. So good on you, Hydreigon. Very cool. The Dark Pulse might have been better if it was Earth Power in some cases, but that was kind of like what fourth move do you want? And I like the idea of having consistent dark damage. It's the reason King Gambit's very good. Golden Go is the next thing I want to have. That thing was so strong and I didn't want to get rid of it. But now, okay, well, my choice specs are taken up by the Hydreigon. What am I going to do here? Am I going to go to the choice Scarf set? No, not quite. The idea here is that Life Orb is pretty damn close to choice specs, right? 1.3, 1.5, it's close enough. And still with Terra Steel, like you would on a choice spec set, you get massive make it rain damage. But now I have the ability to Nasty Plot and Protect, so I can set up if my opponent gives me an opportunity to, have a bit of breathing room on a turn. So, okay, well, if you're going to do this, how are you going to actually, get that opportunity? Bam, Electabuzz. So Electabuzz, this is a pretty simple set if we're being honest. Some physical defense, maximum speed to be able to disrupt very easily, taunt, protect, follow me, and then I decided to go Electro Web as support for the team rather than Thunderbolt to avoid Defiance, Wide Guards, and just, whatever the last thing is. I felt like I didn't need the damage, I guess, is the best way to put it. So yeah, that's really what happened there. So 2 slots left. At this point, no physical damage at all, so what better physical damager than Sneasler? Sneasler is just running the format, and why wouldn't I partake? There's lots of support options that you can run on Sneasler that are very good. Folk out. I'm stroking out. Oh my god. Fake Out, Coaching. You see how I got there? Those are both very strong options, but Throat Chop felt very important to me because I didn't want to get walled by Golden Go. And I want this thing to just hit. It's part of the reason I'm also running Terra Stellar. Focus Sash plus Unburden is also a very strong combo because it lets me live a hit, and I can go super speedy if I really need to. We put an extra 4 EVs into physical defense just because it makes a 4-hit scale shot from a Dragonite a little more likely to survive. It goes from being basically a guaranteed knockout to like a 60% chance, which is pretty worth it if we're being honest. So our last slide, at this point, Trick Room is very hard for us. So let's add Torkoal. No, we're not going that route. We're adding the bear. We're adding the bipedal bear, Ursaluna Blood Moon. And I really like defensive bear. And similar to Golden Go, its Terra type is normal to be able to boost out a little bit of extra damage while also being defensive. Gets rid of weaknesses to water and grass, which I felt were very important with very rain heavy meta, Rillaboom being very strong, that sort of deal. Vacuum Wave, very, very strong to pick things off as a good 4th move, considering we're Assault Vest to be nice and bulky. There were a lot of times that I faced opponents that is just like I just yummed damage. This is true in my first game, which is just, that's the highlight competitively of the event for me. We'll get into that. So that is the team I ended up bringing to Toronto. I get to Toronto, and day -1, so the day before anything event-wise goes, I flew in, I had about 3.5 hours of sleep, and then I went to Niagara Falls, which is 2 hours outside of Toronto. I spent more time on a bus that day than I did on a plane, which is really funny to me. And I was absolutely zonked by the end of it, because 3.5 hours of broken sleep, where half of that was on a plane, then walking around Niagara Falls, it's pretty crazy, you know, pretty tiring, but very worth it. So day 0, I decided to go because there's some people in my local scene that played TCG, and I'm like, oh, you know, I know you guys are going to the event. Let me meet up with you. I want to know some faces. So I go there and start talking to some people, get my wristband, able to go into the venue finally. And then there are side events, and start just, you know, chatting with people, trying to get signed up with events. And ultimately there, the first thing I sign up for is like a 4-person VG Cup, right? So you pay $15, you get put into a pot of 4 people. Once there are 4 people signed up, you do just like, you know, it's like a best one semifinals immediately, and then a finals in the end, right? Everyone gets some tickets by the end of it. Then you get like a little more if you come second, then you get a good amount if you come in first place, which you can then exchange for prizes. So through this, I meet some people, one of them being my boy Luca, right? So first, you know, I went and I got to meet someone. I got to make a friend, which is pretty cool, because meeting him through this, we then did the next 2 like side events that I did that day, did along with Luca, and then all of day 1 in the event, talking to him between rounds. It was great. Like I had like a social thing that I could do now at this event, going in not knowing anyone, just because I signed up for a side event, you know, as a solo. So that was super worth it. The second side event, I won that, by the way. I won that 4-person, smacked them up. It was really funny. It was funny too because the wireless connections were taking so long. It like genuinely, my first game nearly timed out. Like it was counting down the last minute of the game, because every turn took about twice as long, or if not 3 times as long, to communicate through wirelessly, because we didn't have docks for day 0. That sucks. So we did the finals of this side event on Showdown. I don't know if we were supposed to or not, but like, I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you. After that was the Chaos Cup. Chaos Cup is very cool. You sit down, there's a rental code right in front of you. That's the team you use. It's just like based off of the pairing that you get. You just get your table, and that's the team you use. It's pretty cool. Also, like half the teams that they tried to get us to use didn't work, which is really funny. And I also asked the judge to snap some photos, and this judge is a legend, quite frankly. So I also got to smack people up in that one too, which felt very, very good. Like I had to use like Aquajet Dragonite beside Water Compaction, Weakness Policy, Palossand. That was fun to cook someone with. In that I ended up winning, so I got some tickets out of that. And then after that, me and Luca, as well as a couple other people that we met through the Chaos Cup, we decided to do a booster draft. So that's where you all get a pack of Pokemon cards. You open it, you pick a Mon from it, and you pass the pack of what's remaining to the left. Right, and you just do that until you go through all of the cards, and you try and build a team of 6. And so through this, it's like, okay, if you have like extras, or you have like items or energies, whatever, it's like you can use those to put items on your Pokemon. So everyone was able to, like, if they wanted to, have a team of 6 with 5 items across the board. And there's no bans, it's just that it has to be available in game. So like I had like a Melmetal card, but Melmetal is not in Scarlet and Violet, so instead I got to use an Archaladon. And I also, but like first round, I picked a Mewtwo. Like I'm using a Mewtwo, you know. 2 other people have an Amoonguss, so I put safety goggles on the thing. In game 1, turn 1, I side strike an opponent using Koraidon, as my opponent uses Rage Powder Swords Dance, and he was just like, you know what, man, if your Mewtwo has safety goggles, you just kind of win. And I just look at him and I smile. I'm just like, yeah, my Mewtwo has safety goggles, and I OHKO the Koraidon. It was brutal. I also won that game because I got a crit side strike high roll against a fluffy Houndstone, or was it Soundvale? I can't remember now, but all I know is that I beat it, and it was really funny. But our opponents, it was very much a case of like, it was like church meme, because it was Tornadus and Amoonguss. Amoonguss Terras being like, ha, you can't Bleak Wind Storm me. Tornadus, ha, I didn't Bleak Wind Storm you, I taunted you. The Amoonguss, ha, it doesn't matter you taunted me, I'm Mental Herb. Spore, Tornadus, ha, you can't Spore me, I'm Safety Goggles. Just Watching that happen in real time, their exact reaction back and forth, it was so good. It was so funny. And the cool thing here was I met 2 new people and became friends with these people, so that on the next day I had more people to talk to in between rounds. It was awesome. I also won that side event. I won 3 of the side events. It cost $52 total to play the 3 side events, and I got 360 prize tickets. This is what the prize tickets look like. So I guess they're numbered just so you can't like forge them or whatever. So 360 Poke de Balloons is what I earned. For 150, I got a mouse hold. This thing alone is $52 plus tax. So like not even half of my points earned. I got back my money's worth in merch. I got a Lilligan. I also got an Esper Christmas ornament, a little tree ornament, and I got a Sprigatito hat. Neither of those are in my room right now. I'm sorry. You're just gonna have to deal with it. I'm sorry. That was aggressive. I am sorry. So then, wake up and it's day 1, and let me just tell you about it in real time.
All right, it's 7 a.m. You know, actually, hold on, I gotta do this here because I don't know if this will be picked up or not. Subtitles. I don't know if that was a bird or a fire alarm. It's 7 a.m. I've got to make my way to get some breakfast and then head to the event. So where am I looking? Where are my eyes going? I cannot. This is a terrible idea. Why am I using this footage? What's going on? What's the goal? The goal. Where am I looking? I'm looking at myself, but I'm not. There we go. Goal. It's enough to Rolodex. I can't do that with one hand. Jesus Christ, this is a bad idea. Oh my lord. I'm gonna go get a bagel. We'll go get a bagel. I had to do that. Then rock out.
Alright, listen. I didn't realize on Google Maps when the place I was going to get a bagel said it was open at 7. It's 7 on Monday. It's not open today. So I gotta hit up Tim Hortons now. Canadian Classic for Canadian Regional. Let's fucking go.
Bit of a rough start to the day of not finding a bagel that I wanted, but I got a bagel belt from Tim, so you know what, it works. And I get to the event, and I need to use the bathroom real bad. Oh boy, I need to use the bathroom real bad. So I'm chatting with Luca, go get in the line, and there's a lineup, let me tell you, brother. So we're sitting there, and then finally, round 1 pairings get released. They haven't said start your rounds yet, but round 1 pairings go through, and so we check. Couple of us are around, and it's like, okay, well, who are you up against? It's like, okay, person, no idea who they are. Mainly we're trying to see like, okay, who has to face like Wolf Click, right? Who has to face the people that we know about. And so Luca checks, okay, don't know this guy, and I check. In round 1, the round that I'm like, I want to win round 1 just to get the win out of the way.
With that, Training Kiss Montana Mott becomes your Los Angeles Regional Champion.
I'm up against Montana Mott. So it's the beginning of the day, I'm trying not to crap myself, and then I read the news that I'm up against a regional champion. I need the line to move faster at this point, if I'm being honest. Not the start that I'd hoped for at the beginning of the day, but you know what? Take it, we ball, because my theory is like, okay, either I lose and it's expected, or I win and it's unexpected and it's hype. Nick of time, I'm able to get through the line into the bathroom, get out, go to my table, shake hands with Montana, chill dude, and start having dock issues. Unfortunately, start having some issues with the dock because his switch won't connect. It takes like 15 minutes for them to eventually replace the dock, which like it's the start of the day. It's when they're gonna have the most problems, right? So understandable, and you know, Montana was chill about it as well. I was too. It's not his fault, right? I don't care. We're just happy that we eventually got it settled, and we're all good to play now. So we get into game, and I'm looking at his team, and okay, I can see some lines. You know what? I think I can see some stuff here. I don't think you appreciate my bear. So I'm like, okay, Whimsicott bear, we're going to get you out here. I don't want to boost this Annihilate, so mouse hold, you're going down. Maybe Incineroar comes in. So I start launching off attacks. They miss a Super Fang into me, and then they hit with a Drain Punch, and they do about 48%. So even if the super rank hit, I still would have lived. But a second Drain Punch isn't going to actually KO me. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's pretty good. Yeah, they go for a couple Drain Punches over the next few turns into my Ursaluna, and it's just like, you didn't quite get the KO on me, but I'm able to, like, you know, do things like break a multi-scale on a Dragonite, I'm pretty sure. You know, they pick me off with an extreme speed. So I get my Hydreigon beside my Whimsicott. Tailwind is up. Choice specs, I haven't picked a move yet. And I do a very bold play, if I dare say so myself. The Annihilate had like just protected or something like that, like, or they had the chance to. And I'm like, I want this Annihilate gone. So I fake Tears a Defiant Mon. Willingly. I fake Tears it and I go for a Dark Pulse. I also Terra just because I'm like, okay, if this doesn't work out, I don't want to be taken out by a Drain Punch. And so, and I also don't want to get hit by a Scale Shot too. They switch out their Dragonite. I get the fake Tears off. I get my Dark Pulse off. They Terra'd the Annihilate and I get the Oko. And in my brain, I'm going, oh my god! Like, I'm just like, I'm popping off internally because I'm just like, every turn I'm getting right. My opponent is playing well, right? They're not just like throwing the game or anything like that, but oh my lord, I'm playing really well, and it's just the start of the day. So I win game 1, and I'm like, I'm up a game against a former regional champion. I thought this was gonna go horribly, and I've at least, you know, made it a close set, and then we start playing set 2, and it's kind of a similar story where I'm calling the right moves, like I'm calling the right protects, I'm getting the right switches, I'm getting the right, you know, like they take down my Whimsicott much sooner with their Incineroar this time around, but I chip it down very strongly, and I'm just, you know, rattling off damage, and ultimately I think I win it with, you know, 2 mons left up, but still, it's like I get to the end of it, and I win the set 2-0 against a former regional champion, and me, this guy, going in with all of these doubts and unsure if I can do anything, and then being presented with a massive challenge in front of me, it's like, holy shit, I can do this, I can do well, maybe I can reach day 2, like, maybe I can have, like, you know, a neutral record or a positive record at worst, right? Like, you know, I can do this. Like, I'm already in 1 game, I've proven to myself, can I do this well? And the answer is yes, clearly. You know, even if at this point I go 1-7, the fact that I was able to take a convincing set against a regional champion in Scarlet and Violet too, so it's not just like, oh, I won like 18 years ago and I'm, you know, riding that high. It's like, no, this guy's good right now. So this is an incredible start to the day. I lose my next 3 games. The first loss though was the funniest of them though, because after the game I go up to the pillar where we're all having a meetup after we play, and I could tell him I beat Montana Mott, and everyone's like, holy shit, good job, man. Like, and so I'm talking to my boy Luca, and he's like, man, I lost because of a misclick. Like, he had stick drift because there was a turn that he was going to protect and it didn't go through his protect, so he lost. And he also just had like horrible luck the whole tournament with sleep, because he had like, I think it was 8 different first turn wake ups when his team has both Spore and Yawn on it. So it's like, pour one out for my boy in the comments. And so we look at the pairings for round 2, and I'm facing the guy who just beat him, and I'm like, you need to tell me everything you know about this team. And so he does, and so he makes a recommendation like, you probably don't bring Hydreigon into this. And in retrospect, I think I bring Hydreigon into it because I got cooked. They had a Tyranitar team. Tyranitar is hard for me to beat. Yeah, and so it's like, I get a loss. Okay, that sucks. I'm 1-1, but you know what? Listen, my 1 win is still really good. You know, so we get into the 3rd game. Okay, you have Blood Moon Ursaluna as well, and it's Terra Normal, and it's Assault Vest. Okay, we both have kind of the same deal going on. And then they also have, like, you know, they have double Fake Out Pressure, they have Intimidate, they have their own Nasty Plot Golden Go, they have this Dragonite with Tailwind and Haze and Scale Shot and Extreme Speed, and so it's no Protect, and it's Terra Steel, and I'm just like, oh my lord. And so they also beat me, so now I'm down 1-2, and it's like, okay, it's looking dicey, lads. And then, yeah, and then game 4, they have like a Choice Scarf Bascule Legion, and they have a Assault Vest Ursaluna Blood Moon, and they have Fake Out, and they have double Fake Out because they have a Tinkaton. You know what, I'll be honest with you, the fact that the one who knocked me out of day 2 contention had a Tinkaton, full respect to them. That's my boy right there. Damn, I started off so high and I went so low afterwards, right? You know, that was kind of crushing, but it's like, I'm going to play it out. I'm going to play it out. Here, I want, because I can prove to myself that I can play well if I do well in the rest of the event. You know, because I can't make day 2 at this point, sure. But I can still perform. I can still get practice in. I can still run the set, and I can still make some kind of comeback, right? Most people don't make day 2. There are lots of good players who made it to this event and didn't make day 2, like Aaron Zhang, Marcos Perez. So if I can show that I know what I'm doing and not just go 1-7 at this point, okay, that'd be great. So let's just focus on at this point. There's no pressure of like, if you don't win this, then you're out of day 2. That's already happened. So now it's just pressure of win this game. So we get to game 5. My opponent has a cool like Excalibur and Sylveon team. So I'm like, okay, let's see what's going on here. On game 1, they have Talonflame and Rillaboom, and I'm like, let's suppose Golden Go is going to do real solid against them. So, you know, I lead with that, and their Sneasler has Throat Chop, but it doesn't have Protect. You know, it has Fake Out, so it's, you know, I can always attack into it, basically. And so just being able to, you know, follow me away certain damage and get off the right hits that I need to, you know, eventually I'm able to, you know, chip things down, take out everything on their side. You know, it comes down to the end that, like, I'm outspeeding certain mons that they have. You know, there's certain things where it's, you know, I'm catching, like, the attacks in the right slots. I get, like, an Earth-powered Oko into their Archaludon, which is, like, kind of crazy considering my Ursaluna's not the most offensive. Like, it's pretty offensive, but it's not maximum and it's not Life Orb. So, you know, things like that are pretty crazy. And I find out some things like their Rillaboom is pretty damn slow. So, you know, I learn good information. I take game 1. Game 2, I kind of do just the exact same thing that I did in game 1, and it kind of just goes the same way, where I'm able to claim KOs and outplay the opponent. And so I win. So I'm back. I'm back on the board. 2-3. Parents around 6. My opponent has like a really like unorthodox rain team. You know, they have a Farigiraf that has no Trick Room, but they have Ally Switch. I'm like, oh my god, that's wild. They have a clear Amulet Barrascuda. Which I'm like, that is ballsy. That is a ballsy play to make. I want to be honest, because you have no Basque Legion. Basque Legion's right there, but you know what? I respect it because that thing is fast. So even without your rain, you're outspeeding a good amount of threats. And then with rain, you're doing a lot of damage, and you're outspeeding things like the Swift-Swim Basque Legion, a lot of things the opponent might have in Tailwind. They have an eject button Pelipper, which is crazy when you think about it for Weather War. So this is a very cool, you know, set to go up against. But ultimately, I win this 2-0 as well. So I'm like, oh shit. My record's 3-3 now. I'm back to even. I can take this farther. I'm actually kind of doing the thing that I set out for myself when I was 3-3. I can do this. I can do this. Round 7. They have a Sun Moon team, right? And I think my opponent was very tired, unfortunately, because there was, I think in the second game, they miscounted the number of turns that were left in Trick Room, and I guess they didn't double check, because there was like a set of plays where I think I was still in a winning position, but it was like, okay, I need to like protect and sack, and then I need to protect the other side, maybe get the double like sack, or like it was like, okay, I'm pretty sure that this turn, it's like no matter what, it's like I probably win with the thing that I have in the back, like in a 1v2, just given what I'm seeing in front of me, and then I can, you know, so it's like, okay, let's just like try for some damage here, maybe we get some things, otherwise like it's probably just gonna be like a double KO, protect on the next turn for, you know, stall, whatever it is. And we're in Trick Room, my opponent has a Hatterene, and it doesn't move first, like my Sneasler goes before it even, like I get a Dire Claw into it. So I asked my opponent, it's like, why'd you go for Trick Room there? Because their Gallade didn't. They didn't go for like a double Trick Room to try and like reset it fully or anything like that. And they're just like, wait, was Trick Room like not over? I'm like, yeah, dude. And he's like, oh shit. So it's like, oh man, I feel for you, man. But I also knew this team very well because I practiced in a Grassroots tournament with this exact same team. Maybe it wasn't exact same because they had Swords Dance over Earthquake on the Ursaluna, but even still, it was effectively the exact same team, right? It was the same style that I knew how it plays, and I knew what I could do against it to combat it. So at this point, I'm 4-3. And I'm like, okay, even if I lose the last game, I went even at this point. I've definitely proven to myself that I know how to play this game. And if I want to do more events in the future, which at this point I've convinced myself I have. I don't know when, but I want to be at more events. I'm like, okay, I can do this. One last game, let's try and close it out. And my opponent, it's not a mirror, but they have a supportive Electabuzz. They have an Ursaluna Blood Moon, but it's Life Orb this time, with Terra Normal, so very offensive output. And they have a Whimsicott, but it's Terra Ghost Focus Sash. It has Beat Up, it has Bungor. It was going to be a rough one. And it was, I mean, not like the closest game, but like it definitely wasn't a blowout either, but ultimately I ended up losing in the end, in a 2-game set. Like, God, what a way to end it off, right? That kind of sucked. But, like I said, I'm 4-4. That's pretty damn good. That, you know, considering the prep that I put in was not nearly as much as I think I could have, and it was not over a very long period of time, so it wasn't comprehensive. It wasn't like, hey, I get to fully understand the game, I know exactly what's going on. That, why am I doing like a Critical Role Jester voice? Something on my desk fell. The day's over at this point. 8 rounds are over. I've known most of the day that I'm not making it into day 2. But I get to talk to my friends, see how they did, and just kind of think back on the day and realize, yeah, I had a lot of fun. It was just a good time playing Pokemon. Getting to chat with my opponents, getting to chat with my friends in between rounds. It was awesome. After games, I get to meet, you know, different people. I get to say hi to Seabad, right? And it was kind of cool to be like, yeah, it's like, hey, I'm Pax. Like, we played in like some Grassroots tournaments like together recently, and you can go kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, well, it took him a second, right? Which, you know, fair enough. You know, you'll come to know my name in due time, good sir. I'm gonna clean my glasses while I talk. Hee authentic. You know, I didn't get a pick with him or anything like that, but you know, I got to chat with him a little bit, and it was awesome. And then he revealed to me the horrors of the fact that Sneasler gets acid spray. So if you give that an electric seed beside a Miraidon, you can choice specs acid spray down opposing mons. Oh no, Reggie's gonna be a time. I said hi to Joe Brown and told him, it's like, you know, give a good work with Oko. And then he was like walking, he stopped and he like reached his pocket, and he like, presently like hands me a sticker for, which I don't know where the hell it is right now. Hands me a sticker for Oko. And I'm like, oh shit, thanks man. And at the same time, he hands one off to Moxie Boosted. Right, so didn't get a pick with him, but I got to, you know, chat with him for a quick second. Luca's bemoaning him about the amount of first turn wake ups that he had in the day. It was 8. It was ridiculous. And I don't remember the exact full phrasing he said, but it was something to the effect of like, "This is the game that we play. You know, sometimes luck goes your way, sometimes it doesn't. But ultimately, the thing you need to remember is the bar's open at 8." And then he walks off at this point. The funny thing being that, as far as I know, at least in, you know, places in Canada that I've ever been, the bars are open well before 8. They're open well before 8. So I don't know if that's an America thing, or if it was just like a really poignant way of saying like, hey, listen, like you leave the event, the bar's gonna be open. Regardless, it was like, oh cool. I got to also tell him like, hey, you make good stuff, and to be like, oh, thanks, man. So it was cool. So we're ending the day, and so Luke and I, we go to a sports bar, you know, because I'm like, I need food. I am hungry. Oh my god. So we go to a sports bar. It's a Toronto Maple Leafs game night. It's an away game, not a home game, but still, it's a Leafs game night in Toronto, and we're in the middle of this sports bar. We're playing Pokemon Showdown, building a Gurgler team for Regulation G. Listen, I'm a nerd. I fully accept it, alright? If you haven't guessed at this point, I'm a nerd. And so that's how the day ends. So, you know, day 2 comes around. Day 2 comes around. I go to the CN Tower, go and visit around that, which was cool. Then I go to the event. I'm like, I want to watch Top Cut, you know? I came for this, I want to see like the whole game. Maybe I'll get to meet some people while I'm there, right? Who knows? We'll see. I don't know. So sitting there watching Top Cut, and there were like 3 chairs. Initially, I sit in this one because like there's people like sitting like from here onward now, right? So initially I sit in this one. I'm like, you know what? Let me move to this one, because if 2 people, that's my laundry. So if there's 2 people that come by and they want to sit down, I can give them the space. And so a little bit later, the exact thing happens. Someone says like, it's like, hey, are those seats taken? I'm like, no, sure. Hey man, I love your shit, because it was insane in the rain. I've been following this guy since like, not day 1, but basically like the first year of him doing stuff. Like it was like just after he did Summer of Covers. If you know Insane Rain, you don't know about Summer of Covers, you ain't an old head like I am. Like I was in junior high and he had like just started high school. It was ridiculous like how early on that I found this guy, and I've loved his stuff the whole time he's been doing stuff. And so him and Steph of Anime were just there spectating, having fun on vacation, and watching Top Cut. So I got to watch Top Cut with this guy that I've been a fan with for a decade, and it was awesome. They were super nice people. They were so pleasant to be with, right? It was just like, oh my god. And then I got to watch VGC history because like the entirety of Top Cut was ridiculous. So all of the games were so good. Please go watch the VODs of the top sets. It was incredible. Like Wolf making history, Giovanni Costa's Dragon Knight making history still. It's so good. So good. Like, you know, and just the energy in the room was so hype. It was so good. I loved it. You know, basically Top Cut ends and I'm like,
I gotta get on that plane!
and I got to the airport like 2 hours earlier than I needed to. It was wild. But then I head home and the event's done. And I'm like, damn, that was fun. I want to do that again. I don't know what my next event will be, but let's revisit those initial questions. I don't want to go 0-X. Well, I did that. I went 4-4. Sweet. I want to have plays that I'm proud of. I beat Montana Mott. Cool. And I want to prove to myself that like I can do this. It's like I went 4-4. I beat good players, and not all of my sets were blowouts. If I put in the work, I can get better at this. And it was fun, even though I didn't do well, right? Like I think I was in the bottom half of like maybe of results in the end. I didn't make day 2. And I'm a perfectionist. I genuinely, let me bare my heart a little bit, struggle with doing things, even if the things that I like, when I don't do them well, right? Like if I don't do them top tier, but I still had fun. It was awesome. Like the lead up was great. And it could be better, well, you know, better done, but it was still like a fun experience. The event itself was awesome in multiple facets. So ultimately, yeah, I think I I learned a lot. And I just felt good. I hope that you out there watching this, you at home, not only do you like, comment, and subscribe, you take this as inspiration of like the thing that you want to do but are kind of bemoaning starting or don't think that you're good enough to do. Yeah, you're good enough to do it. Just do it, nerd. It doesn't have to be Pokemon. It can be whatever you want. It can be lots of different things. Like it could be, you know, music or drawing, other things that I've also put a lot of time into and want to be good at, and you'll probably see content about, and like cooking and baking. Like, so like, you know, if you want to see more of that stuff, stick around, because the channel's called Tons of Packs for a reason, because I do tons of things. You're going to see tons of me. And I hope that this was fun for you in some manner. My God, I've been recording for a while. I don't know if I would want to watch a random person's like 50-minute video about going to an event that they didn't even day 2, but if that's you, you are awesome and cool, and I appreciate your support. Thanks a ton, and peace out. I should go get that damn laundry. Oh boy.